Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels, and of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Art thou better than Populus? No, that was situate among the rivers, that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put and Lubim were thy helpers. Yet was she carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. Thou also shalt be drunken. Thou shalt be hid. Thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy. All thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars. Draw thee watchers for the siege. Fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar. Make strong the bricklin. There shall the fire devour thee. The sword shall cut thee off. It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the locust. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven. The cankerworm spoileth and flieth away. Thy crowned are as the locust, and thy captains as the great grasshoppers, which camp in the hedges in the cold day, but when the sun ariseth, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. Thy people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee. For upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually?
Make no mistake, we're going to get it. What this country is getting, those are the people who deserve it. Those are the people who deserve it. When the gas spikes and we're no longer in the Middle East because we were thrown out of the Middle East because Iran attacked all of our bases, we didn't defend them, and a lot of these Gulf states don't want much to do with us. When all of that happens, and when Israel's a regional power there, and becoming a global power, again, this is out of Netanyahu's mouth, when all of that happens, the people that cheered this on from their backyard in Long Island without a goddamn thought as to why we were doing it, it just felt good to them. It was a way to own the libs by sending troops into a Middle Eastern country. These people are all hopped up on pharmaceuticals and French vanilla coffee creamer, and they're They have a bloodlust that is insatiable. The suburban American has a bloodlust that is absolutely insatiable. Nothing is enough for these people. Nothing is enough. We're becoming a sexless country. We're a joyless country. Our only joy is in exporting violence and sitting back and watching it. It is the only thing that unites people and gets them excited. They all have a bloodlust, and they want things to blow up, and they want people to get hurt, and they don't care that we bombed a school of Iranian children. They don't care that a Tomahawk missile ripped through a school and killed 165 people, many of them between the ages of 8 and 10 years old. They don't care because many parts of this country are a moral black hole. They are a moral black hole where there is no morality. They're amoral. You say, well, maybe they have bad morals. No. They have no morals. They're a black hole. Those are the people that are cheering on what's happening right now in Iran. They cheered on what happened in Iraq. Okay, 20 years after that, everyone in this country has less money on average. People do not own homes. People still don't have health care. People are in no better position financially than they were, except the top tier. And those are the same people that cheered that on. They're cheering this on.
I think that we're an incredibly ruthless country. The amount of murder and mayhem that we've created around the world is just unbelievable. I was looking at a study the other day put out by Lancet, which is a scientific journal. And they did a study. This was put out, you can see it on the internet. It was put out in November of 2025. And what the article did was it looked at sanctions, American sanctions, from 1971 to 2021. 1971 to 2021. And it asked what were the consequences of those sanctions. And we murdered 38 million people. 38 million people. The amount of havoc we have wrought on the Middle East in recent years is just stunning. You think about the consequences of the Iraq War, what we do in places like Venezuela, Cuba, Iran. You understand we're using this tremendous economic leverage we have to basically starve people, to make them suffer, to inflict great punishment on them so that they'll rise up against their government. You understand that this is what we're doing in Venezuela. This is what we're doing in Iran. We're inflicting massive punishment on these people. Given all that, I find it very difficult to talk about the United States as a noble country. I just don't think that we are exceptionally virtuous when it comes to foreign policy.
Shall we begin?
Iran is not interested in negotiating with Trump or the U.S. regime. Iran is going to punish the United States, and we are in the process of doing it. This regime in Washington has tried to cross a bridge that's a bridge too far, and they're messing with the wrong country. We're not Venezuela, we're not Iraq, we're not Libya, we're not Afghanistan, and we're not Syria. This is the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we will make sure that the United States regrets the aggression against the Iranian people and the slaughter of children and the slaughter of innocent civilians and the murder of the leader. These are crimes against humanity, and the United States and its allies have imposed the law of the jungle upon the world, and they will come to regret it.
But Iran is not a military superpower either, and we're seeing the vast majority of drones and missiles being shot down by air defenses. I mean, surely Iran cannot win a military war and therefore has to go for some other kind of strategy in coming to a settlement.
Iran will defeat the United States. Time will tell. And our drones that are being fired are very old drones. Our missiles that are being fired are very old missiles. They're very inexpensive. And Americans are using up very expensive air defense systems. The Iranians know exactly what they're doing. We haven't even begun using our latest technology, and most of Iran's underground bases have not even been used yet. They have not even been opened up for operation. The Iranians have been planning for this day ever since the invasion of Iraq. They knew that at some point the Epstein regime will go after Iranians, and therefore they've been preparing themselves for many years. We are fighting for our homeland, and our sovereignty, and our independence, and our crime is that we oppose the genocide that the British regime and the American regime and Western regimes have been supporting. And we are on the right side of history, and the United States is the aggressor, and we will punish the aggressor and make it regret its crimes against humanity.
What percentage of Iran's missile stocks remain?
The vast majority.
Because after last year's war, it was estimated that Iran had used up around 40% of its missiles. Are you saying that was replenished in the last few months?
Those numbers were always fake. Those numbers are provided by the Israeli regime to the media in order to convince foolish Americans that war against Iran is simple. This war was supposed to end in a day or two. The 12-day war was supposed to bring Iran down like a house of cards. That failed, this failed, and now the United States will have to pay the price. And if the United States escalates That will mean that the most sensitive region in the world, the Persian Gulf, where a quarter of the world's energy comes from, everything could be destroyed. And if that happens, it doesn't even matter if the Strait of Hormuz is open or closed, because there will be no oil or gas, and there will be no tankers. For Iran, this is a fight for survival. For the United States, this is a war of choice, a choice that has been imposed upon the American people by the Epstein class. We will expel the United States from our homeland, and we'll make sure that the United States never again thinks about aggression against our country. And we will not allow the Israeli regime to behave with impunity and to continue genocide against the Palestinian people.
In that latest interview I did on the 5th day, I said we've passed the peak and we're heading downhill. Now is our downhill phase. You saw what happened just last night in Tel Aviv. This was a day ago. Meaning because we hit the radars and the infrastructure today, truly Mr. Trump and Netanyahu are trapped in a slaughterhouse in the Persian Gulf. And in the coming days... In that latest interview I did on the 5th day, I said we've passed the peak and we're heading downhill. Now is our downhill phase. You saw what happened just last night in Tel Aviv. This was a day ago. Meaning because we hit the radars and the infrastructure today, truly Mr. Trump and Netanyahu are trapped in a slaughterhouse in the Persian Gulf. And in the coming days and weeks, much more joyful news will be delivered to the dear nation of Iran. Look, the big mistake they made was that they came and designed a short-term war, but they didn't realize this might turn into a long-term one. Even the greatest international powers, if they initially plan for a short-term war and halfway through it becomes a long-term war, no matter how much power they have, they will be defeated. Why? Because short-term wars have a specific design. They require limited logistics and limited preparations. A long-term war requires abundant logistics, extensive planning, and they have to anticipate many consequences. They thought the Islamic Republic would be finished in 48 hours. First, they brought one aircraft carrier. Then recently they said, for precaution, let's bring another ship, too. But now they're saying we must bring in whatever ships we have from anywhere in the world, so maybe we can handle this. Take the USS Ford that has now come towards the Mediterranean. It's currently their time for leave. There are 5,000 to 6,000 personnel saying, we need to go on leave. How do you know? Because during their time in Venezuela, their mission there had ended. They were told, you will go for 48 hours and come back. Furthermore, these ships usually need maintenance every 6 months. They need to be resupplied with ammunition and many other things need to be done. They came for 48 hours. Now, if they want to stay for long term, from the fatigue of the forces to the shortage of ammunition, they will be burdened with other problems. Secondly, they didn't think the war would become long term. They didn't think, for example, the price of oil would go from $80. It has already gone up to 110. You should expect 120 and 150 oil in the coming days. We're getting close to 150? Yes, he says. Well, what does this mean? It means the entire global economy will collapse. If the global economy collapses, then the world will the world allow Trump to continue his warmongering? Or will the countries of the region allow him to continue his warmongering? There it is. We'll be able to make an assessment as to just how much this guy just walked everybody through it a week or so from now. But when you see the International Energy Agency begging all countries to release their reserves, I don't know how long that will be. That will last, but clearly they're worried about it. When you see all these alarm bells go off when we hear that the Iranians are putting just a few mines into the Persian Gulf.
Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh, Barakati Yahweh Shai, Barakati Yahweh.
The first is the United States will.
Barakati Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai Ba, Racha HaKodash, Kol Tapa Arath, Hawad Wahaloyim, Rawatum Yatla, Allah Hayanawa, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai Ba, Racha HaKodash. And what I just said in the Lashon Kodash being the ancient Paleo Hebrew, or in other words, the true biblical Hebrew for holy tongue or language. And what I just said is all glory, honor, and praises abundantly and continuously to our power, Yahweh, the true name of our Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls God, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Savior, our Messiah, our Deliverer, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly and incorrectly calls Jesus Christ, or in other words, through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth out to four corners of the earth. To the hopeful elect, the 144,000 and the 1/3, as well as the rest of the elect, scattered abroad amongst the heathen nations to the four corners of the earth, east, north, south, and west. To you I say, Shalom. This is your brother Ra'ib Tazadakwa coming back at you again, all through the spirit power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, with another lesson. Yahweh Ratazah, Yahweh willing, is going to be edifying and encouraging for you, Achim, brothers, and any Achwath, sisters, that may be listening and or watching. Now, tonight, first thing I'm going to say is that this isn't in transit. I am on the road. If there's any pauses, hesitations, or delays, or mishaps, like during my opening greeting there, giving glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Shema Shah, the worst time for that to happen, you know why, because I am on the road, and I do appreciate your patience and your understanding in that regard, and say Tawada, which is the ancient Paleo-Hebrew for thank you. I say Tawada in advance. All right, so tonight is part 14 in an ongoing lesson series that will end whenever the Spirit has it end. That will end whenever the Spirit has it end. Tonight is part 14. Most, Salakia for the flipping, no other way to show you this. Most of the parts are sit-downs and in transits, which you will find here. They all have the same thumbnail, which the caption on the thumbnail is the first part of the title. The third woe is here. Revelation 11 and 14. The third woe comes from Revelation 11:14, which must be preceded by Revelation 9 and 12. And also, I want to say in Revelation the 8th chapter, it speaks about woe, 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 right? So you got Revelation 9 and 12, you got Revelation 11 and 14. That's where you read about the three woes. And the three woes are the 3 world wars. And the third woe, the 3rd world war, is here. All right. A woe in the scriptures is a period of time of great sorrow, misery, death, and destruction. And of all the woes in the scriptures, these woes here are at the pinnacle. They're the top. They're the greatest woes. All right. And so what could be a period of time of greater sorrow, misery, death, and destruction than world war? And the answer to that will be nothing. Okay? Nothing. All right? So that's what these 3 woes are. These 3 woes are the 3 world wars. And the third woe, the 3rd world war, is here already, but it of course has not reached its climax. It of course has not reached its pinnacle, and it has not ramped all the way up. But it has ramped up considerably with the attack of the biblical Persians. All right, Ezekiel 38 is where you'll find them identified and referred to as the Persians, and the biblical Carmanians, which you'll find that in 2 Ezra 15, which is the chapter that we're in right now. Okay, which both of those today are talking about modern day Iran. All right, and the third woe has ramped up dramatically and intensely with the attack of Persia, the Carmanians, modern day Iran, by America, Babylon the Great, and Amalek, the biblical Amalekites over there in the land of Israel, our land, calling themselves Israelis. Okay, both of which are Edom. Okay, different tribes of Edom, and no, the Edomites are not done away with. Okay, you got reputable, prominent, what they call them, reputable, prominent scholars. We'll say something about the scholars, but I meant the rabbis. You got reputable, prominent scholars and rabbis over there in the land of Israel. All right, Israelis, which I already told you, they're Amalek, they're Edomites. They don't claim that. Well, some of them do, But the ones that are saying what I'm about to tell you, they don't claim that they're Edom. Okay, but other scholars over there will tell you, no, we're Edom. Matter of fact, you used to be able to get their scholarship, and inside their scholarship, they'll tell you that modern day Jewry, talking about the quote unquote Jews over there in our land, is Edom. They know they're Edom. Okay, the elites and the ones that are in charge over there, they know they're Edom, but the peons have kind of forgotten that a bit, right? Some of them have, some of them still know it, right? But of those that have forgotten that, you'll have some of their prominent scholars and some of their prominent rabbis, which will tell you that America, Babylon the Great, and the West, that's Edom. They will identify Edom as America and the West. Okay, and then those over here that are paying attention will say, no, we're not Edom. You're Edom over there. So you got Edom accusing Edom of being Edom, and they're pointing the finger at each other. And the truth is, they're both Edom, just different tribes. Okay? And since Edom has attacked Persia, all right, America, Babylon the Great, controlled by the Edomites, all right, and the Israelis, the land of Israel, those are Edomites as well, since they have gotten together, all right, and attacked Persia, that has dramatically and significantly intensified and ramped up the third woe. But it's still got a lot of ramping up to do, though. Okay? But here's the thing. It isn't going to take no long time. All right? Matthew 24, 21, and 22, the Most High Yahweh is his name, is speeding up the time. He's hastening the time, which means he's making all the end-time biblical prophecies that had to be fulfilled prior to the destruction, prior to the third, I meant to say the second death, and prior to our deliverance and salvation. He's making all the end-time biblical prophecies that have to be fulfilled because they're written, because he's spoken them. They have to be fulfilled. He's making them all be fulfilled in a very much more shorter period of time. Very much more faster period of time. Okay? It's going to happen a lot faster than it ordinarily would. So it's got a lot more ramping up to do, but it ain't going to take long. All right? So what it means for you, this is the end of this age, the end of this kingdom, the end of this world. Put a system on the end of that. Okay? Because the earth abideth forever. So the earth is still going to be here. But as I was covering in this, oh yeah, I forgot to show you where you can find three of the parts. Three of the parts over here, live altar teachings. Okay, part 1, part 7, and part 13 were all live altar teachings. So you'll find them over here, whereas the others were sit downs and in transits, which you'll find here. So as we were covering in this last weekend's live altar teaching, which was just yesterday, the earth is going to be rocked, literally, and the topography of the earth is going to be completely and totally changed and rearranged. It's going to look nothing like it does now in the kingdom of heaven after the second death and the thermonuclear destruction and all the judgments and plagues and punishments, including all kinds of natural disasters, okay? Acts of God, they call them, right? That the Most High is pouring out on this earth and will pour out on this earth very shortly. Okay? So this is so that's what it means. That was the first part. And then the second part is that there's going to be a draft. And since I got this up, I didn't mean for that to be playing. I thought I had paused it. Okay? Since I got this up, let's let him tell you about the draft.
We'll use ground troops. And
let's let him tell you about the draft. You see the oh yeah, I got to get the fair use disclaimer. Let me do that. Fair use is allowed. The fair use disclaimer is on the screen. I'll just bring it up. Oh, I can't. Let me do this first. Let me just bring it up. Okay? Fair use is allowed under U.S. law for educational, commentary, criticism purposes, and the like. That's, of course, what we're using these clips for. Not profiting from it in any way, shape, fashion, or form. Always giving credit to the originators of the material. I put the title and the YouTube handle on the screen. All right? And so fair use notice is given. Fair use is allowed. Fair use notice is given. All right? Now let's let them tell you about the draft. Because that's the second thing that I highlight.
The first is United States will use ground troops. And this will mean that Donald Trump will institute a national draft. Okay? That's the first prediction. Second prediction.
And that's one of his predictions. And I wholeheartedly believe that he's correct on that. Okay? Because the scripture speaks about the men dying in the wars, and it speaks about the daughters, the young women of marriageable age, the virgins and the young women of marriageable age having no bridegrooms, having no helpers, in the wars, plural, where the bridegrooms killed and slaughtered and the husbands perished of famine. Okay? Ain't nobody just gonna be jumping up saying, me, pick me to go over there to the valley of Yahweh and die. Please, give me a rifle, sir, Mr. Esau. No, it's gonna be a draft. Okay? It's gonna be a draft. So that's the second thing that it means when you read over here. Salakia for the flipping again. When you read over here, come on now. Why is it not doing it? Thank you. Goodness gracious. Okay. Technology. I'm not impressed with this technology, man. This technology to me is trash. It's garbage. You know, back to the drawing board. Okay? Alright. Let somebody in the kingdom, let some heathen in the kingdom of heaven do some work like what the world calls technology today and find out what happens. Watch and see what happens. Watch and see what happens to them. Okay? This is trash work, just garbage work. Okay? In the kingdom of heaven, that's when you're going to have some real technology, man. And way above that is going to be our spiritual power, because we're going to have God-like power. I won't say God-like. Well, you can say that, because we are going to be gods, but we're going to be like the Most High. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now, but Zechariah 12:8 and 1 John 3:1-2 are two precepts just to make that point. But it ain't going to be no trash like this that's put out for technology and applauded and praised, and everybody's googly-eyed over it and lining up, early in the morning to get the latest piece of shit that they put out, and they happy with it. No, man, I hate it. I hate this technology. This technology is trash. Anyway, if it don't work right all the time, it's trash. Okay? For real though. Okay? Anyway, now, so that's what it means for you, and you can go into other places with it. But I wanted to touch on, you heard those opening clips, man. I'm not gonna, yeah, actually I can bring it over here. Okay? You heard those opening clips. You had what appears to be an Edomite. Okay? The Most High put the Spirit on him, and that's Psalm 64:8. Okay? That's Psalm 64:8. So we'll go over there real quick. Going down the road, gonna try to minimize the precepts from going down the road. I will eventually pull over a little bit. Okay? And this is all good, but I'm going to get straight to the point, because this isn't in transit. Okay? So they shall make their own tongue. Now, I don't know if he was an Edomite or not. He has the appearance of an Edomite, so we're going to go with that. And I have no significant reason to think that he wasn't, although it's possible that he's not. Okay? So they, and even if he isn't, you have tons and tons of examples of this where actual bona fide Edomites, legitimate Edomites, are going in on their own people, their own nation, and all the wickedness they've done. Okay, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and even if he isn't an Edomite, it's still shameful spewing upon his glory, upon the glory of the Edomites, which is Habakkuk, that's all over the place too, which is Habakkuk the 2nd chapter. And also what we read over there in Nahum 3, which we're going to go to in a second. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, meaning they're going to spill the beans on their own wickedness. They're going to condemn themselves with their own tongues. Because look, even if one Edomite condemns the wickedness of another group of Edomites, even if they condemn the wickedness of Edomites as a whole, okay? They're still an Edomite. They're still guilty. Their tongue is falling on them too. Okay? Because the nation of Esau, Edom, is going down as a whole. And no Edomite is guiltless. No Edomite is blameless. No Edomite is honorable. The Edomite that's condemning his brethren, he guilty as hell too. Guilty as hell. Okay? Wicked as hell too. The Most High is just putting the Spirit on them to do that. Okay? So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Meaning, once they discover what this man is truly like, and who this man truly is, and what he's truly all about, they're gonna want nothing to do with him. And you're seeing that more and more on the world stage. A good example of that is North Korea. Okay, North Korea, and the Persians, Khomenians, modern day Iran, they would be a halfway decent example of that as well. Okay. So yeah, that was that, and then you had that professor after him in that first clip. That professor was just going into how bloody America Babylon the Great is, and how much death. And he was just going into one way that millions and millions are killed and slaughtered by America Babylon the Great without them firing a weapon, let alone when they actually pick up weapons and start dropping bombs and whatnot. There's all kinds of categories and ways in which America Babylon the Great brings death and suffering and mayhem on the earth. And America Babylon the Great is synonymous with Esau Edom. That's the man in control. He's the man calling the shots. And he's going into just another example of Psalm 64:8 that we just read. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. Another example. Okay? And he's just going into how the sanctions cause, like, I think the number was 38 million deaths. It doesn't seem like it's that damaging. A little inconvenience, a little this, a little that. No, those sanctions cause death. Those sanctions cause untold suffering, misery, and death. And the man did the numbers. He ran the numbers, and he came up with an estimate of like 38 million people dead because of the sanctions, starving to death. Never mind the misery and the misery and the suffering caused in the homes of those that do survive, that don't die. The malnourishment, the illness, the family trouble, the breaking up of home. The suffering is off the charts. Okay? That's why we got to get a precept on that. Let's go to Habakkuk 2 for this one. Making it brief. Going down the road. Okay? Habakkuk, where you at? Habakkuk 2. And let's get also, we're going to get another one. Isaiah 33 and 1. Okay? This is all good. Okay? You can get into this whole chapter. Look at that, because thou hast spoiled many nations, right? But I'm not gonna. Oh man, this is, like I told you, this is all good. But I'm looking for one particular verse. So I'm going down the road. So I'm not gonna be greedy. I'm looking for one particular verse, and I'm going down the road, and hopefully this. Goodness gracious, I'm probably gonna get pulled over. Probably, hopefully not. Because I'm going down a looks like he's got a new box of donuts. Because of course I'm in the lesson, so I wasn't paying attention. I had cruise control set, and it's a what do you call it? A construction zone. And yep, he's still sitting there eating his donuts. Because I was cruising, man. I mean, I was going kind of the normal speed limit, but then it got into a what do you call it? A construction zone, but it's deactivated. Nobody's here. So, hey, it's all good, right? Nobody's here. But anyway, I would have slowed down a little bit, and I did see him, but I was distracted because I'm doing the lesson. So, that nothing came of it. All right. So anyway, because bro, man, cannot afford no fork, spoons, and knives tickets right now. You know what I'm saying? Tickets be expensive as hell too. I haven't had one in a long time. So Barakatha Yahabashima for that. The water Abaya. Shabashamayim. All right. So anyway, what was I saying here? Now that crisis is averted, let's see here. Oh yeah, I'm looking for that precept. Let me see. There's a specific precept that I'm looking for. There it is, right there. Whoa! Remember that I told you about that? Whoa, man! Great sorrow, misery, death, and destruction. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood. Every town this man builds is with blood. St. John 10 and 10. The thief cometh not but for to steal. He's only coming to do three things: steal your shit, kill you and yours, and destroy everything you've built. The thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. And that thief is Esau Edom. Okay? Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth a city by iniquity. Right? And since and the greatest of all, what matters to the Most High the most is that Esau Edom has done this to his chosen people, the Israelites. That would be us, right? So I said I was gonna get you that. You can keep going. This is all really good, right? But let's go to what's that? Numbers 30 and 33, or 33 and 30. I haven't went to that in a while. Let's get it. Okay? I know I'm being greedy going down the road. I'm gonna try not to be. Is it 33 and 30? I want to say. No. 30 and 33. It must be. Let's go over a couple of chapters. I haven't got this one in a while. A little fuzzy on the address. Oh man, I can't remember. I'm just gonna paraphrase. Okay, let me see. Let me see here. Goodness gracious here. Let me try to get it, man. Let me see here. Let's see if that brings. Let me just look for numbers. 35 and 33. There it is. 35 and 33. Okay. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. This is what our Father says. And this applies to all land. Okay? But he's given us the instruction because he's only dealt with us. He's only given us his laws. But nevertheless, it applies for all lands, everywhere. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land. So if every city that Esau Edom has built has been established by blood, then every city that he has built is defiled. Okay? And the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein. It's going to remain defiled, but by the blood of him that shed it, until the blood of him that shed that blood and defiled the land, until his blood is shed, that land is going to remain defiled. The only way to clean the land, according to our Father Yahweh, is for the blood of the one that defiled the land by shedding blood. His blood is going to be shed to cleanse the land. And that's going to be true everywhere where Esau Edom has gone. Okay? Because every city he's ever established has been by blood. And most importantly, to the Israelites. Okay, the land of Israel over there. And even here in America, Babylon the Great, this was shed by blood. Okay? The blood of the northern kingdom, which was already here when he showed up on the shores of the Americas. They were already here, north, central, and south. And Cristobal Colon wrote in his memoirs that when he got over here, he could never put his sword down. Okay? He could never put his sword down because he was slaughtering the northern kingdom. And then they gathered us off of the west coast of Africa, the southern kingdom, and brought us over here and started slaughtering us and shedding our blood as well. Okay? This land was built up by the blood, the sweat, the tears, and more blood of the Israelites. Okay? Okay? So that's the reason why you read over in I want to say Revelation 17 that America, Babylon the Great, drunk with the wine of the saints. Drunk with the blood, rather. The blood of the saints, which the saints are identified in the scriptures, such as Psalms 50 and 5, and the 149th Psalm, and I want to say the 148th Psalm. The scriptures identify the saints as the Israelites. And that's us. The so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, and Seminole Indians, as well as any and all whose lineage, heritage, and bloodline through your fathers goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, through your fathers, bloodlines, through your fathers, goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are the Israelites. Even if you don't look like a so-called black, Latino, Hispanic, Native American, or Seminole Indian. Even if you look like one of the other heathen nations that you've been scattered amongst. Okay? Because it's about bloodlines, not skin color. Bloodlines, not physical characteristics. Bloodlines, not any labels that you have on you today. And America, Babylon the Great, is drunk with the blood of the saints. Okay? This man is the violent and bloody man. I didn't make that up. It comes from the scriptures. Okay? So when we go back over here, I said I was going to get you one more. Isaiah 33 and 1. Let me make this turn. Isaiah 33 and 1. Fuck Esau, man. And all the heathen. Okay? But the difference is the other heathen nation is going to be good after 1,000 years of getting their asses stomped in. Okay? For the controversy of Zion. You don't like it, you got a problem with the scriptures then. And if you don't like it, you got a problem with the scriptures. That makes you an enemy of who you call God. That makes you an enemy of Yahweh by Shemal Shah, and he's about to crush all his enemies and beat you to powder, and you're going to blow away as a chaff of the summer threshing floor. I like that wording from Daniel 2. That's why I use it. Yeah. And you might want to read 2nd Ezra 16 and 11. You go read it. Isaiah 33 and 1. Whoa, man, woes all over the place. Woes all over the place. Woe to thee that spoilest, Esau. Others can do this, yeah, sure. And to the extent that they do it, this applies to them too, right? But nobody's doing it anywhere even remotely close. It's not even child's play. It's infant play. It's not even infant play. It's embryo play compared to Esau Edom. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled. Ain't nobody spoiling Esau. And dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. Okay? When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. As the saying goes, payback is a bitch. Okay? And this applies on the highest level to Esau, Edom. Absolutely. Okay? So, and then you heard all the things that professor there was saying. He's an Iranian professor. Okay? And really I ain't find anything wrong with what he was saying. He was on point. What he was saying had the ring of truth to me. I mean, his facts was on point. Okay? Now, where he's all messed up is that they think that they don't know that they about to get destroyed as well. All the heathen nations are about to get destroyed. So that's where he's wrong on. Okay? He doesn't know that this is all playing into their destruction too. Okay? The Most High just has the Iranians, the biblical Persians, playing a prominent role underneath of the top nation, which is Russia, Gog Magog. Okay? But Iran is going to be right there with them as like a role player, a significant role player to help in the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. But then what? They get destroyed too. Right then at the same time. Okay? All the heathen nations are going down. So he's off on that. But outside of that, his delusions of grandeur. Okay? What he's saying about America and what they're going to do and all that. Yeah, the Most High's with him on that. Okay? Because Russia is leading a coalition of nations from the north. Okay? And Russia's going to have many with them. Again, the Jeremiah 50? Yes. Let's go there real quick since I'm sitting at a red light. As soon as I said that, it turned green, right? Of course it did. Okay, we're going to get it anyway. It's down towards the end. Okay, it says it many places. I said 50, man. Come on, 50. Yeah, here you go. Okay. Behold, a people shall come from the north. That's talking about Gog Magog, the Medes, which is modern day Russia. They're Edomites too. And a great nation, again, Russia, modern day Russia. But they're not going to be alone. And many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. Okay? So Russia is going to be leading many nations against America, Babylon the Great. And Iran is going to be prominent amongst them. Iran, Persia, is going to be like top of the bunch, head of the list. They shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel. And what was he talking about? Punishing, man. We're going to punish America. We're going to make sure America never ever thinks about fucking with us again. And will not show mercy. Their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, modern vehicles of warfare. Everyone put in array like a man to the battle. Against thee, O daughter, so not ancient, of Babylon, modern day Babylon, America, Babylon the Great. The king of Babylon, Esau, Edom, or specifically DJ wicked Trump. Okay, DJ Trump, the king of Babylon, hath heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as a woman in travail. See, this is all on point, man. And you heard also, lastly, you heard the the Iranian military official there going into the strategy, man. Okay, they are fighting a kinetic war, yes, but they're doing war. They're doing high-level chess war because they're also doing a strategic economic war too. Okay, and they're saying, look, we're ready to hit America, Babylon the Great, where it hurts, in the pocket. Okay, and if they're in the same mindset as Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, I heard him say it myself. He was like, hey, we really don't want to fire off no nuclear missiles, man. We know what that would mean. Talking about the big boys, the strategic missiles. Okay. The hypersonics, the strategic ones, Okay, because you got hypersonics that can carry tactical nukes, but we talking about the big ones here. Okay, the city killers. He's like, we really don't want to do that because we know what it would mean. But then he goes on to say, in a world where there is no Russia, well, who needs that world? Who needs a world where there is no Russia? So point is, if our existence as a nation, as it currently stands today, is existentially threatened, then we don't need that world. So we're gonna fire the missiles. We don't want to do it, but why would we protect a world in which there is no Russia? Why would we protect a world in which Russia ceases to exist as it is today? Yeah, there may be a Russia, but it's all cut up and balkanized. There may be a Russia, but it's got puppets set up in it. It's not the Russia that it is today. We've been taken down. Who needs that world? So there's no reason for us not to fire the missiles if we're not going to be here. So we're going to fire the missiles. That's what he's saying. And Persia is in that same mindset. Because they're like, look, if we got to destroy the economies of the world, then we're going to do that. Okay? And we'll see what the other nations of the world have to say to America, Babylon the Great about that. But if that's what it comes to, we're going to do that. See, we're at the end, man. We're at the end. It's all going to end in all-out thermonuclear war, okay? The second death, the return of Yahweh Shah Mashiach and the angelic hosts, our deliverance and salvation, and all the heathen nations being taken down and destroyed and going into slavery and captivity to us, the Israelites, in the kingdom of heaven, Mahar, very shortly. That's where it's all going to end. Over to Habakkuk, Nahum, 3. Okay? Whoa, to the bloody city. This bloody city is America, Babylon the Great. Wait a minute, Rob. I read in there it said Nineveh. Modern day, yes, it says Nineveh, but it's not talking about ancient Nineveh. It's talking about modern day spiritual Nineveh, which is America, Babylon the Great. Modern day spiritual Nineveh. And just to make that point very, very clear, here it's referred to as Nineveh in verse 7, right? And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee. Yeah, just like it said over there in Psalm 64 and 8, right? All right, and we also got to go to Jeremiah 51 for this. All right, but I'm going to wait till I pull over for that. All they that look upon thee shall flee from thee and say, Nineveh is laid waste. See, it says Nineveh, right? Who will bemoan her? Whence shall I seek comforters for thee? Right? And that's going to send us over to Jeremiah 51, but I want to show you this first. Okay, because it's called, the bloody city is identified as Nineveh there, but guess what it's identified as down here, further down? It's called a different place. Okay? Where is it? There it is. It's called Assyria down here. Thy shepherds slumber. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. So is this Assyria, which of course Nineveh was the capital city of Assyria. So is this Nineveh or is this Assyria? Which one? Okay? It's actually both, because modern day Assyria is America, Babylon the Great. And Nineveh is the capital city of modern day Slakia. Nineveh was the capital city of Assyria. And Assyria today is America, Babylon the Great, or you could say the empire of America, Babylon the Great, and the capital city of the empire of America, Babylon the Great is Nineveh, America. Just like America, Babylon the Great is Rome 2.0, the capital city of the revived Roman Empire, which is worldwide. So it's all still talking about America, Babylon the Great. Modern day Assyria, modern day Nineveh. Okay? And woe to the bloody city. And the man told you, just looking at one way they slaughter people. One way they kill many and many of millions of people. Only one of the ways. There's many ways they kill. Many ways they slaughter. Many ways they bring death, destruction, and mayhem. Many ways they rape, pillage, rob, and spoil, and plunder. Just looking at one of the ways, 38 million people. And that's probably a gross underestimation. Almost certainly. This is the bloody city. Okay? And I'm going to pause it until I pull over and finish the rest of the lesson. All right? So I can focus. I'm going down a long and windy road at night in the dark. Okay? I'm getting close to home. Deer and all that. So let me get to a place where I can pull over and we'll continue. All right. So I pulled over and I just want to point out a few things here in Nahum 3. And that's probably all we're going to have time for tonight. Matter of fact, we might not even get through all that because we got a couple of precept passages to go to. Jeremiah 51, got a good chunk to get over there. So we'll see if we can get through it all tonight. If not, we'll pick back up in part 15. All right, but yeah, I want to point out a few things. I've already started to point some of them out. Okay, this is talking about the destruction of America, Babylon the Great. Okay, the bloody city is America, Babylon the Great, full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Always raping, robbing, pillaging, dealing treacherously, shedding blood, violence of all sorts. Okay, moral, ethical, and of course, physical. Okay, and I'm not going to break down everything here, but I want to point out some things. Okay, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Well-favored, before we go here, back. Let's get this word for well-favored. And that's going to come into play, wrong thing, interlinear. Here we go. Let's see here. Good, pleasant, agreeable to the senses. In other words, it looks good. Okay? This well-favored harlot, she looked good. She's the one everybody wants to drop the money on. Good, excellent of its kind. Okay? And that's why we got to go to, which chapter is that in? I forget which chapter it's in, but we're going to go there and look at it. Okay? In other words, everybody's into it. Okay? The well-favored harlot. Okay? The multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Okay? I got multiple precepts in my mind. They're all in Revelation. Let me see here. Let me see it. Yeah, so, but anyway, the well-favored harlot, right? I got too many precepts running through my mind. All right? And upon her head, this is all America, Babylon the Great. Okay? I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, the well-favored harlot that sitteth upon many waters. The waters is people and kindreds and tongues and tribes, the nations of the earth. Okay? And this right here comes into play with the Jeremiah 51 we're going to get. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay? And a woman saw a woman. He actually saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast. But this prophetic vision was metaphoric. Okay? The woman represents America, Babylon the Great, and the scarlet-colored beast represents NATO and the EU. But this beast, that's NATO in the EU, is the organizational system or structure by which the beast is governed today. But the beast has 7 heads, and the 7 heads represents the empires and kingdoms of Esau, Edom, spanning thousands of years. Greeks, Romans, Germania Major, Germania Minor, French, the Spanish, and the British. Okay? And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Purple and scarlet, showing purple and scarlet, showing that she's in royalty, and she's in rulership, decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, showing the wealth. And how could she not be wealthy when she's had the reserve currency of the world, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations, you know that's America, and filthiness, you know that's America, of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, because everybody thought America, Babylon the Great was such a God-fearing, Christian, wonderful nation. Of course, now we're so late in the prophetic timetable, the Heavenly Father already told you over here in Nahum. He's already made good on this. Behold, I am against thee, saith Yahweh of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness. They all, well, not all of them. Some of them still sloppy drunk, slipping in their vomit. But a lot of them are starting to wake up and see the nakedness of America, Babylon the Great, and the kingdoms are shame. I will cast abominable filth upon thee. What was the Iranian professor referring to America's leadership as? The Epstein regime. That's the abominable filth, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock, right? But that's where it is now, okay? And in the decades leading up to this, it was this. Everybody thought America, Babylon the Great was so wonderful, and white is right, okay? And they ain't white; they're different shades of red. That's the reason why they put that label of white on them. It's color psychology. Okay, if you want to use the appropriate color for them, they're the true black people. Okay, and of course, being the devil, the slanderers that they are, they put that on us. And if you want to use color psychology with us, we're the true white people. The saints are clothed in white. Okay, yes, I know a lot of our people ain't acting like it today, but again, go back to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Woe to him that putteth the bottle to thy neighbor, so that you can look upon his nakedness. Okay, and look, I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. What does that mean? That means when John saw this woman, she was boing. I can't take credit for that. I got that from Elder Apostle Tahar. Boing. Damn good looking when he saw this Edomite woman. And Edomite women some of them can be damn good looking, man. Damn good looking. And we're going to have them in the kingdom. Hell yeah. Along with all the other heathen women as well. As much as we want. The best of them. Okay? As concubines. Okay? But she looked real good. This whore, this harlot was fine. She was damn fine. All the curves in the right places. Voluptuous. Okay? But still a small waist. Beautiful in the face. Seductive and sexy in the face. A fine Edomite woman, harlot, okay? And that's what was representing America, Babylon the Great, in America, Babylon the Great's heyday. But you know what happens to whores and harlots? The wall chases them down and stomps up and down on them and doesn't stop. And then nobody wants them anymore. Now everybody's, and then after all that whoredoms, what do you got? All those diseases. That's why the Heavenly Father Yahweh was saying, I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. That means you're going to lift up the skirt and let everybody see all the cooties and stuff underneath of there and the rash and all that. And the smell gets out. Okay? I will cast abominable filth. That's America today. America used to be the well-favored harlot, but now look at it. Okay? And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for thee? Okay? Everybody's going to flee. Okay? And notice that, notice here, I'm trying to find it. Okay, it says here that, behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women, meaning the men. The mighty men of Egypt have forborne the fight. Modern day Egypt is America, Babylon the Great. Spiritually speaking, so I meant to say spiritual Egypt. Modern day spiritual Egypt is America, Babylon the Great. Okay? Nobody's trying to sign up for the draft, man. Nobody's volunteering. That's why they're gonna have this draft. And they're gonna be getting their draft on, man. They're gonna be drafting large numbers of the men here in America, Babylon the Great, and sending them over to their deaths. All of them, into the valley of Yahushua. Multitudes in the valley of decision. And the other heathen nations, they're going to get their taste, so they're going to get their part in that too. Because all the armies of all the nations are going to be drawn and gathered over there. Thus saith the scriptures, Isaiah 13, Joel 3. Okay? But there was something I was looking for here. I must have missed it. Because, again, I'm just showing you some things here. No, it's further down. Okay. Look at it. It's talking about the fire. Okay. The fire shall devour thee. Okay. And that's what we're going to go to Revelation 18. And it's also further down in Revelation 17. Where is it talk about the waters? I missed it. Okay. You know how it is when you're looking for something. I just want to show you something here. Why am I not seeing it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Art thou better than Populus? No. That was situate among the rivers, that had the waters round about it. That's a defense. Whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Look over at the NLT. Are you any better than the city of Thebes, situated on the Nile River? Yeah, the equivalent of the Nile River here is the Mississippi. Surrounded by water. Is not America, Babylon the Great, surrounded by water? And has not that water, is not that water a great defense? You got the Atlantic Ocean on one side, and you got the Pacific Ocean on another. That's a great defense. Okay? Surrounded by water, she was protected by the river on all sides, walled in by water. And so is America. America, Babylon the Great, has boasted in the fact and taken consolation in the fact that they don't have nothing to worry about because you got the Atlantic on one side and the Pacific on another. You know, and they got their hands all in, Canada, that's their people, and they got their hands all in Mexico. Okay? So I wanted to show you that. Let me see, what else I want to show you here before we go to Jeremiah. I already showed you that. Okay, it's all thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater. Okay, Persia, the Iranians, they have devastated all those bases over there in that region. Referred to as the Middle East, but it is really truly Western Asia. They've devastated those bases over there. Oh, and talking about the people in the midst, talking about the men in the midst of thee being women. Hey, the American military is more concerned about making Transformers, I almost said it, making Transformers feel at home than being a ready, capable fighting force. Okay, you got active members of the military dressing up in drag in uniform. Okay. Getting sharks change operations. Yeah, man. See, that's what this is talking about. And it's on all levels, because even when you come off of that high level, you still have the men of Esau, Edom that are just all weak and effeminate. Okay, a lot of them. You still got some of them that are not, but a lot of them are. Way too many. Okay? There was one more thing I wanted to show you here. Okay? No healing of thy bruise. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Let us return everyone into their own nation. Okay? There's one more thing I wanted to show you here. Yeah, here you go. Verse 15. Is that the only place? Yes, verse 15. There shall the fire devour thee. The sword shall cut thee off. Okay? It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the locust. Okay? Look at the NLT. But the fire, the thermonuclear destruction, will devour you. The sword, the thermonuclear missiles, and the warfare leading up to it will cut you down. The enemy will consume you like locusts, devouring everything they see. There will be no escape, even if you multiply like swarming locusts. The idea here is that the numbers of the wicked are being increased. The numbers of the Edomites are being increased. And what does it say over in Job, the 24th chapter? Let's go see. Their numbers are being increased. Job 24. And let's get let me see here. I thought it was 27. I meant to say 17, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was Job 24. Okay. Bear with me a second. I thought it was right there. I got to refresh my memory on this address as well. All right, let me find it. Okay. Job 27 and 14, not 24 and 17. So I had the numbers mixed up there. Job 27 and 14. So let's go there. And let's get 13. Let's get 13 through 17. Okay? This is the portion of a wicked man with the Most High, and the heritage of oppressors, the most wicked man on the planet, so much so that he is identified in the scriptures as the wicked, is Esau Edom. And the greatest oppressor on the planet is that wicked man, Esau Edom, which they shall receive of the Almighty. So this applies to Esau Edom far and running away more than anybody else on the planet. Okay? This is on Esau Edom, Thamyad, continually. Okay? Yeah, somebody else may do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that, and they get a little bit of what we're going to read right here. Right? But this is really on the highest level talking about Esau Edom. If his children be multiplied, yeah, just like we was reading about over there in Nahum 3, it is for the sword. It's just so that they're being multiplied to get that judgment. Bring in Isaiah 14. Okay? Bring in Isaiah the 14th chapter, like 21. I would get it, but this is, got to get ready to wrap this up, and I still got Jeremiah. Okay? If his children be multiplied, in other words, if their population increases, it is for the sword. The reason why the Most High is having their numbers increase is because it's time for a lot of them to die, to be slaughtered. That's why. Okay? And his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread. You can put this right with Job, the 20th chapter. Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep. In other words, even his own women, the Edomite women, the she-devils, even they aren't going to be with him. Even they're going to turn on him. Even they're going to abandon him. And when he's getting his judgment and they're standing there with him, they're going to be suffering too. But when he gets the judgment, he gets the death, he gets the judgment, he gets the business, they not going to weep. They're not going to weep. They hate him too. They hate him too. Okay? Even they going to be happy that he got it. And you see that now. A lot of the Edomites, it's men doing it, but a lot of the Edomites that's making their own tongue fall upon themselves is the Most High doing it. But a lot of the Edomites that's fulfilling that prophecy are the daughters of Edom, the she-devils. Okay? They hate their own men. Though he heap up silver as the dust and prepare raiment as the clay, in other words, though he's wealthy right now, though he's got all that the world could offer right now, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on, and the innocent shall divide the silver. As it is written, the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the righteous. I'm paraphrasing, though. I think it has different words, but I couldn't remember the exact words, but those are good synonyms. Okay? So when we go back over here to Nahum, that's what it's talking about. When it says, make thyself many as the cankerworm, make thyself many as the locust. Okay? Because it's time for them to be put to death with the sword, and those that remain to be buried in death. Okay? Let's go over to Jeremiah 51. We're going to wrap it up. I'm greedy here. Oh, man. I don't know how long it would take me to get through all of this. I wanted to read it all from like 1 down to, I mean, there's no place to stop. Okay. 11. I mean, there's no place to stop. Let me see here. Let me just get the point, man. Okay. Let me not be greedy. All right. Because I have no idea how long it would take me to get through all that. I wanted to read all that. Maybe I'll read all that in part 15. Okay, but let me just give you the point of what we were coming here for. All right, which is going to be 6, 7, 8, and 9. Let's just get that. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her, America, Babylon the Great, spiritually speaking Nineveh, spiritually speaking Assyria, spiritually speaking Sodom and Egypt, Revelation 11 and 8. He will render unto her a recompense. Seeing then that it is a righteous thing with Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh, our Father, Abanawa, okay? Allahayanawa, our power, our God, seeing then that it is a righteous thing with Yahweh to recompense tribulation to them that trouble us. And it's time for him to render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad, and all the nations going to get it. Not as bad as Babylon, no. Not as bad as America. Not as bad as Esau, Edom. But they're all going to get it. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Let's see if we can heal her, because we make a lot of money off of her. Let's see if we can heal her. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. No, she can't be healed. You can't heal this. You can't heal. Somebody from a head getting chopped off. Okay. Going back to the Nahum again, the last verse. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit, meaning the destruction of thee, shall clap their hands over thee, for upon whom have not thy wickedness passed continually. In other words, they're going to be glad at your downfall. Okay, you're going to have those that are going to be weeping and mourning over it, because that's just because they're not making money over you anymore. But everybody else outside of that, they're going to be glad. They're going to be rejoicing, clapping their hands. Like, yeah, about time. Okay? Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Forget about her. Abandon her. And let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven. How does her judgment reach unto heaven? Because her judgment is by thermonuclear fire. That's the end of it. She's getting a hell of a lot of plagues and judgments and vengeance and fury and wrath poured out upon her, leading up to that. But ultimately, the thermonuclear destruction and the fire is going to reach up into the heavens. And the fire is the smoke. The smoke is going to ascend up into the heavens as the smoke of a great furnace, just like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah when Abraham got up that next morning and looked towards the plains and saw the smoke of the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof rising unto the heavens as the smoke of a great furnace. Same thing. Okay? And Babylon shall be, and the destruction of Babylon the Great shall be like unto the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Isaiah the 13th chapter. And for our judgment reaches unto the heavens, heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Let me get help myself. Let me get 10. Yahweh have brought forth our righteousness. Tazadakwanawa. Come and let us declare in Zion, Yerushalayim, Israel, nowhere else, the work of Yahweh. Whose power? Whose God? Our God. No one else's. Although the whole earth will be filled with the glory of Yahweh in the kingdom of heaven, and all nations will worship the Heavenly Father Yahweh in the kingdom of heaven. But that is in subjugation under the Israelites. Okay? Us, the Israelites. Nineveh, the bloody city. America, Babylon the Great. Okay? Now, we didn't get back into 2nd Ezra 15 tonight, but that's all right. We'll just pick back up with that next time. I might even get some more of that Jeremiah, but that's really what I was going there for. All the rest of it, I was being greedy, so we'll probably just let it rest until the next time that the Spirit brings that precept passage up, which could be very, very soon. All right. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Before I do want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Rechah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, respect to the brothers teaching and pushing this truth out the four corners of the earth. Adwan Radazad, this lesson was edifying and encouraging to you, Achim, and any Achwaf that may be listening and or watching. Ayashmiya Kwanah, Azanyim Lashemai Shemai. Let him who has ears to hear, hear. Kwam Yasharala, Baba Kwasha Abai Baba Etha, will call Adawam. Shalom Lahabachayim, peace to the elect. Shalom.